All right. I'm good, James. Thank you. All right, guys. I'm back. The audio wasn't working. I tested my mic with our IT guy. It worked just fine. I think YouTube just hiccuped. So I'm just gonna sit here and wait. I'm gonna ask you guys to type your questions in. Okay. Uh, Please. Thank you, Jeremy. I'll have our IT guy delete the old. All right. I see you guys are filing in here. Sorry about that, guys. That's why I always say, tell me if you can hear me just to test that the mic's working. Didn't do anything with the microphone, called my IT guy on Skype. The mic worked fine. So I don't know if YouTube was hiccuping or whatever. We have similar issues sometimes with LinkedIn. So if you guys could retype your questions in, that would be great. We're just going to get going. I don't want you guys to have to wait for everybody else to show up. Um, yeah, and Jeremy, I did delete the old stream, so people can't go there. So, um, okay, so let's jump in. I saw Derek had asked this question before. So, Derek had said, "Why do you insist on only showing one product to a company at a time?" We don't, but at the beginning you should. So to send 5 ideas, you have to realize these are marketing managers and they're very busy. They might have 5 different bosses telling them to do all these different projects, inundated with email. If you send them, if you've never communicated with them before, and now you suddenly send them 5 different products, you're now creating this giant time suck that they've got to commit to, as opposed to sending one. That one of the things that we always say is when a company gets your sell sheet or your video, they need to get your product in 6 to 10 seconds. That's it. And so when you send them 5 at a time and they didn't say that was okay, you're not being respectful of their time. So the reason why you want to send one is that's making the relationship. When we say no to that particular product, then you can say, are you open to others? Is it okay if I send you 2 or 3 or 5 at a time? And you ask for permission. So who is asking that question? Derek. So Derek, yeah, you don't want to just send 5 at a time to a company you don't have a relationship with or an individual you don't have a relationship. That's freaking obnoxious. So don't do that because you. I think that one of the things that I've realized is through these bridging the gap, we do these bridging the gap sessions. It's for our coaching students. And we bring on CEOs of companies and we bring on marketing managers from companies and they talk about their product line and also what they're looking for, but they also share what their life is like as a marketing manager, for example. And it's really great because the students see that these are people just like them. It's a marketing manager and they're an inventor, so there's some difference there, but that they're dealing with stuff. And it helps people realize that it's not just about you. It's not just about you and your invention. That you're going to try to shove down their throat. And when you send 5 products unsolicited to a company, or even you ask permission, you send 5, you're shoving it down their throat and you're not being respectful of their time. Now, you send them one and they're like, not interested in this one. And then you say, well, you're open to more. And if so, is it okay if I send multiple at a time or do you only want one at a time? And you're being polite. You're asking. You're not just showing up at a dinner party you weren't invited to. You're asking what's appropriate and what's not. So think about their position as if you get this email with 5 poorly done sell sheets, which inventors outside of InventRight, even if it's just one presentation, quite often, it's hard to, what is this thing? I don't understand it. Then you send 5 like that, you're going to delete that email or just ignore it and move on, and then you're like, how come they didn't respond? It's like, because you wasted their time. So, It's totally okay if they give you permission to do it, but only send one product at a time to make that initial relationship and then go from there. So that's a great question, Derek. I love it. Um, and it's okay to send multiple, but you just want to ask permission, and you don't never want to do it up front with a company. You want to make the relationship, and when you send that first product, that is your, it's like a coffee date, or it's just like, you're just talking to somebody at a party. It's like that's how you get to know somebody. It's not like you want to get married. Here's five products, and you want to have kids too. It's like, so that's the reason. Hopefully I explained it in a way that you understand. um, Jeff said, uh, I submitted to one of several companies under a parent company that makes similar products, sent all the sell sheets to the first company, and now getting crickets. I'm going to submit to the other subsidiaries. Do I let them know I've been submitted to their sister company? No, I don't think you need to at all. You hadn't, if they said no, and they didn't want your product, then you submit to a sister company, and then that gets right back to the same guy. Okay, they could get a little irritated with you, but if you've gotten getting crickets from the parent company, go ahead and submit to the other sister companies. That's no problem. You haven't found somebody that's in that company that said, "Look, I'm your contact person." Once you get that and they're responsive and you're communicating with them, don't go around them. That's not kind and respectful. That's like crazy inventor territory, right? But if you've gotten crickets from the parent company, yeah, go ahead, send to those sister companies. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong at all. Um, hey, and so thank you for those of you that are coming in. I think we had more people, but I don't know if everybody found the new stream. I told everybody in the stream to go to the new stream. Then Jeremy suggested I delete the old stream. Now I realize that maybe that was a bad idea, because people would have read in the chat where it said go to the new stream, go to the channel. So we just lost a bunch of people, but that's okay. I'll help the ones that are here. Um, let's see. Hey, Andrew, I discovered a product patented in 1902 and not currently for sale. It seems useful to me. So it is this a potential item to start researching and maybe licensing? Can you rehash old patents? So you can definitely, any product that a patent has been expired that's public domain, anybody can do that now, right? So for you to go to a company and just sell this product that was patented in 1902, um, I would want to have some little improvement of some kind to add to it, but maybe you're freshening it up in a way. If it's from 1902, there's probably something that needs to be freshened up. So you can't patent what was patented in 1902, but you can patent it some little addition to it. So you and anybody else can use what was patented in 1902 if those patents are expired. Okay, which that was a long freaking time ago. Um, so could you license something like that? Absolutely, you can. But I would file a provisional patent, and I would cover some little improvement or some form of updating it. But realize they could, if they wanted to, do that old version from 1902. But you need to bring something new to the table, without a doubt. And anybody can do that old version. Um, Jeremy said, "Can you speak on trade shows? There is a home show coming up in North Carolina, NC. I'm assuming that's North Carolina. Do I pitch there or bring my own idea?" So with the home show, Jeremy, I don't know if you've been to trade shows before, but it's probably not what you think of as a trade show. These home shows, they happen all around the country, and homeowners will go to a home show, and they'll be like, "Oh, we want to fix up our house," whether it's indoor, outdoor for garden or indoor, whatever. And you get all these vendors there selling different products or services to fix up your house as a home show, right? And that's not a trade show. Okay. That's kind of a home show. It's like a consumer level show. So that kind of show, consumers go to it and they want to buy products to improve their home. A trade show would be a different group of people. A trade show, Jeremy, would be manufacturers are the ones that have the booths. Okay. So in that respect, it's kind of like that home show. And then um, retailers are going there to find new products to put in their stores, right? That's a typical trade show. So, I think you'll be disappointed if you go to this home show. I go to this home show, I'd become familiar with the products at home shows and what but you're not going to pitch or show your product there. Now, if it's a traditional trade show, then you're going to be walking around, going to these different manufacturers, different products. Maybe you've got a product that improves, um, revives your patio. Like you've got this old patio, it's all kind of washed out by the sun. You put this treatment on it and it looks new and it's all shiny. Okay. So if you found some companies that are making products in that space, you could meet with them at the trade show, the proper trade show, and you could talk to them. But you got to be realized they're there to sell, not to buy. So you don't want to grab their time. They're there to make money. They spend a lot of money to go to that trade show. So for you to take a bunch of their time, but when you go there, more than likely, maybe you talk to this person and they're kind of like a younger kid. You tell them what you're doing with licensing. They're like, oh, that would be Bob. And then Bob comes by the front of the booth and you tell Bob what you're doing. He's like, yeah, yeah, we're open to licensing. And you get his card. Okay. I don't care that you give them their, you should give them your card out of politeness, but you get his card and you follow up with them. You don't have to show the product at that point in time, especially if it's a consumer level show. Um, but now that I think about it, Jeremy, if you're at a consumer level show, um, and there's some manufacturer, you could talk to them, but they might be just some sales dude that's like selling at that local show and they're not with the bigger company or they're just doing sales for that day. So you have to qualify it. But you want to get that marketing manager's card, what have you. And so you can follow up with them. And you see, he's open to licensing. You see you have a product that's a good match for them, and you'll follow up and email them. You respect their time. Now, if they're like, oh yeah, show me what you got. Maybe you pull out a sell sheet, maybe you got a video on your phone. Maybe you got a product show. You got to be careful about that because that's public exposure and public disclosure as well. And it's really not necessary. But, to me, if you're going to a trade show, only a percentage of them would you actually show them your product. Most of them, you're just going to get the card. So you can get a lot done in either of those. Let me go ahead and turn off this other deal here. Okay. Um, let's see. Pete said, hi, Andrew. Thanks for all the great info. Can you save your progress when filing a PPA online, or do you have to file it in one sitting? Um, we have software that guides you to write the provisional patent, but that's not the patent office website. So with that software that we give our students, you can save it, come back to it whenever you want, and you're writing the provisional patent. But when you get on the patent office website, you should intend on finishing that. You're in there and you're going to finish it. And I've talked to inventors that didn't do that. Think they can just leave their browser sitting there and come back 24 hours later and it'll be fine. And the answer is that doesn't work very well, if at all. So yeah, you got to finish it in one setting. It could be a little confusing if you've never done it before on the patent office site, but no, you got to do it in one sitting. Um, Caleb says, please touch lightly on how long to wait on following up after sending a sell sheet. I would typically wait about a week. Now, if you're submitting on their site and it says, wait 3 weeks, well, then wait 3 weeks. But, or you can contact somebody in the company and say, what's your process? If they didn't make it clear, if they had a portal, which they're not really ideal, look at the instructions, see if there's, it specifies. But I can tell you, if you're just submitting only to companies that have a portal that says inventor, submit your product here, you'll probably never license a product because you need to reach out to marketing managers directly on LinkedIn, on the phone, via email as well. And so if you got that permission and you're following up, I would say a week or 2 weeks. A week is a little bit short. Maybe a week to 2 weeks. You give them a little bit of time. They might want to show it around, what have you. And when you do follow up, be very friendly about it. Don't be pushy. And always send them another email so they can see your prior email and they agreed to take a look at it before. And just following up on, how long it'll take you to get back, or, whatever your process is fine. Should I wait another week, or what have you? And just be really polite. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. Just be really polite about it. Don't be complainy. Don't send a random email. Did you look at my sell sheet? And it's like, well, who are you? You're going to make them like search their whole email system to find that. Don't do that. Whenever you reply, always make it so they can see that email chain. So So I would say a week to 2 weeks, I think, is reasonable. Unless they tell you otherwise, then do it based on whatever they tell you. Um, and when you can do is you when you send it, say you can ask them right then when you send them your cell sheet. You can say, "So what's the process? When would be a good time for me to follow up with you?" And see what they say. And they may not say something, and don't feel like, oh, they're not going to show it around. Then that's not. They're just busy. They got tons of email just like you and I do. Um, Carla says, my target company will pay for engineering and prototype. When should I start licensing agreement? After they start making the prototype or before? Wow. Okay, Carla, you're pretty green, but that's okay. I think most other people would probably be confused about that as well. Um, so if I can't really answer that completely, our negotiation coach is gonna it would help our students to figure out what to do and when. You need to have conversations. You shouldn't even be more. They're gonna start after they start making a prototype. So if they started to say like we want to play around with a prototype and you haven't talked to them, sometimes it makes sense to talk about some deal points. Like if you literally haven't had a discussion about that you're looking to license this to them, wow, that's a mistake. Don't get them spinning their wheels on a prototype and you haven't even talked about what you're looking for at all. Other times it's good to kind of talk a little bit about these things and kind of get them going, get their wheels spinning and get them working on some stuff. But it really depends on how things play out. I can tell you over the years, I've seen it go some different directions there. It really depends on how that initial first call goes. And I'm not privy to that conversation, Carla, but I can tell you most people don't handle that right. So if you have never talked to them and they're making a prototype, big mistake. You need to talk to them. Okay. You need to establish some rapport, have a general idea what direction this whole thing is going. But on a positive note, it's great that they're willing to get going and spend the money and work on a prototype. Um, okay. Uh, let's see. Leon says, how long should we wait after you sent a prototype? You should be, when you send a prototype, you should be asking them what their process is. First off, again, Leon, same thing as Carla. If you hadn't had conversations, companies quite often will say, yeah, send me your patent, send me your prototype. You shouldn't do either of those things ever up front. You should always have a conversation with them first, and then you figure out what's appropriate. And a lot of times when they ask for a prototype, like let's say you just send the sell sheet and they're like, can you send me a prototype? And if you just went ahead and did that, Leon, you made a mistake. You're losing a beautiful opportunity because they want something to interact with them and have a discussion and move the whole thing forward in their head and in your head, and your guys are working together. So these aren't things that I can answer definitively and say, oh yeah, after you send a prototype, oh yeah, it should be a week, you should get back. No, you need to define that. um, let's see. Jane Smith said, hi Andrew, from IR alumni. Thank you guys for retyping these. Sorry that the mic was it was YouTube because I called our IT guy and immediately he was able to hear me. I was using the same microphone. So Google, YouTube, same thing. They glitched. I don't know what happened there. That's why I always say, tell me if you can hear me, and type yes, and nobody was typing yes. Um, Hi, Andrew, from an InventRight alumni. Royalty question: if the wholesale projections are for 4 million, does this sound reasonable? 3% for sales under a million and 1.5 for sales over a million. Um, I think that's a great question. Um, you know, People always want to go, oh, well, I heard Stephen Andrews say 5% is a common royalty rate. And it's like, and these days what we're saying is please, please don't just like people go, what do you want? You go, oh, 5%. Never ever do that. I can't tell you how many times where the inventor won't say that. Say, hey, have you licensed before? And they're like, yeah, and we do this 8% deal. And you're like, oh, well, that sounds like it might be reasonable. Don't mess yourself up with throwing out a percentage. But this is going to bring me to my other point. It's not just the royalty rate, it's the royalty rate and the price of the product and the volume that can be sold. So, I mean, maybe a 0.5% royalty rate because they're going to sell a bazillion units and you're going to make like $1 million a year or whatever. I'm just making stuff up, guys. That's not typical at all. Would be reasonable. So it's not like, oh, it's not all about the royalty rate. Is it a 99-cent product? Is it a $500 product? Is the royalty rate 5%? Is it 3%? Is it 8%? What is it? And what kind of volume can they sell? So, I think, Jane, I don't know why, you're going away from 5%. You're saying that projections are for 4 million. I guess that's a year. So if we did 4 million, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna get my calculator out here. All right. So I got 4 million on the calculator and I'm going to do times 0.05. And so that would be $200,000 a year. So why are you beating yourself down from, $200,000 a year to whatever the 3% would be, which is, let's see, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 times 0.03. Why would you rather earn $120,000 a year as opposed to $200,000 a year? And why are you going to the abysmally low royalty rate of 1.5 over a million? Why are we doing that? I don't know. Um, I don't know. Are their profit margins that tight? I mean, I don't know what the product is. So one of the things that I would do is if I was our negotiation coach, Paul, I'd figure out what category we're in. I'd figure out what the product is. I'd figure out also, I don't know, maybe Jane, maybe your innovation, it's something they're already selling quite a bit of, and this will just help them sell a little bit more. That might be where you're tapping into those sales they already have. They're already selling an insane amount of units. So I don't have enough information to go on, Jane, but initially I would say 5% royalty would probably be reasonable. Um, and by the way, Jane is specifying not she's specifying wholesale price, not retail price. So probably the retail is $8 or $10 million on that. So they expect to sell $8 or $10 million a year, but she's basing her royalty off the wholesale price, which is what you want to do 9 times out of 10, because that's the price they sell to the retailer for. So that's easy to track if you never need to audit them, which I've never had one of our students do that, but it's always in the contract. We don't let our students sign contracts without an audit clause that it's easy to track. You can see that, but you can't do the retail price because there's so many sales and clearances and all that. There's no way you could ever track that. So she's doing the right thing by going on the wholesale price, but maybe selling herself a little short with the 3% and 1.5% royalty. But Jane, I don't have enough information. So um, let's see. Mariana, should I submit my idea to this open innovation company, even though it says all submissions must be either be patented or patent pending? It's the kitchenware and houseware industry. My idea is a design. No, so Mariana, that's not a problem. You file a provisional patent, and it's $75, and you can legally say patent pending when you have a provisional. You don't have to say provisional patent pending. So with that company's submission terms on their website, a provisional patent would fulfill that requirement. And you guys, you want to hear this from other folks, but you'll hear it from us. Sometimes they'll say, like, there'll be a submission form on a website, which isn't ideal, guys. It's better to go direct, but it'll say patent number. And you can just, if it takes like text, you could just write pending in there. So you can cheat a little bit to get your sell sheet in front of their face so they're looking at it. So you'd be surprised how the rules sometimes will fall by the wayside when they find a product that's really intriguing. So sometimes people are like, with the submission form, I don't know, for some reason I'm talking about submission forms. Andrew, there's no place to attach my sell sheet. I'm like, is there a text box? And they're like, yeah, there's a text box. I can type it. I'm like, don't do that. That's ridiculous. It blows my mind that some companies would actually say, describe your invention, type it out. I'm like, are you kidding me? Trying to do a written description of your invention? That's ridiculous. Don't do that, guys. It's a terrible sales tool. But if you have a sell sheet, a one-page sell sheet with it's an advertisement, it has your picture, your product, benefit statement, a few bullet points, you can attach that. So I don't know if all of you are familiar with Dropbox. You could put it in your private Dropbox. You can get the version you need for Dropbox, but one document in it and a few others is free. You could put it in Dropbox, and you get the link to the document, and then you paste that link into that text field, and they can click on it and see it. And I don't care if they're asking you to write a description. If they're asking you 5 places that say see sell sheet, see sell sheet, see sell sheet, and then I would include the link to the sell sheet. I would never try to type in what it is. That's just and it just boggles the mind. I mean, Stephen and myself, we've been thinking for a long time. We should guide companies to do a better job with working with inventors, because I think a lot of them, they're just like, who put that up? That's ridiculous. Um, so there's another little tip. Um, yeah, so Mariana, just file a provisional. Legally, you can say patent pending when you have a provisional. So that's okay. Okay, so Dave was saying, "Hi, Andrew. Do licensees typically pay royalties based on gross or net wholesale to the retailers?" So most of the time, it's on the wholesale price, the price they sell to the retailer for. But we have plenty of students that do deals now where they're like the vast majority of the stuff they do. And this wasn't back in the day. I would have said if a company is just selling on Amazon, that's a red flag. They're really rinky dink, and that's not good. But when a company sells on their website and Amazon, and some of these companies are really big and they do massive sales on Amazon. So I no longer believe that that is true. Um, so anyway, the point is that if they're selling direct to the public, it might be on retail. If they sell directly from their website or directly from Amazon, it might be on retail. So, a classic example of an inventor like messing themselves up because they heard Stephen and I say 5% sometime. They go 5%. It's like, well, 5% of the retail price is better than 5% of the wholesale, which is typically half of it, right? So somebody's like, well, yeah, we'll pay you, and you can mention it's on the retail price. So that's one of the things you want to analyze. Is you want to take a look at, are they selling to somebody else, like a retailer, which traditionally most companies are? Or are they selling direct on Amazon or on their website? And so in that case, you might be getting the royalty on the retail if they're selling only direct. You might do a different royalty for each. There's a lot of things to think about there. Don't take these little bits and pieces and think this is enough to close a licensing deal and all its terms appropriately, because it's not. So I really worry when I share some of the stuff and you guys think, oh, I just need that little piece. That's all I need. No, you need a lot more than that. Um, let's see. Mariana said, design change. I'm not interested in paying for a design patent. Yeah, that's no, design patents don't have provisionals. So you have to pay the full amount and they are cheaper, but a provisional patent application, our students that use our online solution to file them, it only costs them, the patent office, the $75 fee. So yeah, most of the time, Mariana, you're going to be filing a provisional patent, which provisional patents are utility patents. They are just provisional utility patents. There is no provisional design patent. I get that question all the time. Nobody asked that, but I'm just mentioning that. Um, uh, Ed Dixon sounds like he's trying to continue something else from before, but I don't see anything from before. So we'll just read it and try to figure it out here. For example, the new Chevy. Okay, I don't know if you're saying, for example, Ed Dixon. I don't see anything you typed prior. For example, the new Chevy 21, the flex thing in the back of the truck. How do you sell an idea or innovation like that? Mine is different, but how do you deal with car companies? Well, most of the time you shouldn't try. So Dixon, Dixon, I guess is your name. You should try to go with the automotive aftermarket. We've had a bunch of automotive aftermarket coming on our Bridging the Gap sessions saying what they're looking for. It's a massive market. They need new products. It's a great category. That's the way you want to go. It's next to impossible to license to a major automotive company. So you saw this cool thing that's in the back of the Chevy truck, probably helps you organize, flex things, maybe helps you organize stuff. I haven't seen that. I have a 2000, not 21, I have a 2007 Chevy diesel. I wasn't really a truck guy until I bought a fifth wheel. And then I since sold that. And then I became a truck guy. I was more of a sports car guy, but quite a while back. I became a truck guy. So, but and I need all sorts of solutions. People with new trucks need solutions to organize stuff if that's what the Chevy Flex thing is. So, just don't try to license to a major automotive manufacturer. You might as well shoot yourself in the head right now. Now, we had a student that did it, and but you need like a wall of patents, and they're so archaic with being innovative. I know Tesla might be an exception, but they're so slow to change. You're so much better going automotive aftermarket. And to me, with whatever, I don't know what the Chevy Flex thing is, as you put it, but it sounds like something that could be put on as an accessory later. That's the direction I would go, E. Dixon. I don't know your product, of course, but don't try to think you're going to license to automotive companies. Good luck. Um, let's Jeremy said the chat doesn't load fresh after you join. They wouldn't see anything. Okay. All right. Yeah, maybe Jeremy. Because for those of you that are just joining, we're a fair amount of people coming back here. Uh, the audio wasn't working on the stream, so I had to start another stream. So sorry about that, guys. It wasn't me, I swear, on this one. The mic was plugged in, button wasn't muted, just YouTube glitched, which normally they're really great. I don't have YouTube glitching like that normally. Um, uh, it's a very technical question, Dave. I don't think I'm going to have enough information to share it to comment on that. Yeah, I can't comment on that. I would need to ask you a lot of he was asking about filing, and it's just very detailed. I'd need more information to know. Inspiration and intelligent athlete is their handle. Um, good evening, Andrew. Lewis looking okay, your name's Lewis. Becoming an InventRight student. My current 4 12-hour shifts. I work 4 12-hour shifts. Okay, that's great for licensing and creating things for my business now. Do I work with your staff on my own time or when they are available? So we've had students in over 65 countries. So that's perfect. So if you work 12-hour shifts, I'm assuming that's during the week. You would do your meetings with the coach that one weekday where you're not doing that 12-hour shift. But we do have coaches that work all different times. Like Courtney, she works like super late. So even on the 12-hour shift day, you could probably meet with her later in the evening. It depends on when your 12 hours is. But we figure that out. Customer service is great about figuring out matching you with a coach that works on your schedule. And then you just going in their calendar every time you're like, oh, this is great. That always works. And it works because we planned it that way. All right. That's not a problem at all. If we're able to accommodate people in dramatically different time zones, we have expats in Indonesia. And I talked to a gentleman in Bali the other day, and also just people in other countries. It's not a problem because it's one-on-one, you know. Now with the group coaching, it wouldn't be possible because the time difference may be really big. If like you're in Europe and it's like 2 o'clock in your morning, but with the one-on-one coaching, which is what most people sign up with, it's not a problem. Yeah, Dave, I don't have enough info on that patent question. I would need more info. Um, and it sounds like a really important one, so it's not something I'd want to just gloss over. Sam said, question, should the inventor shoot the video footage or for the impeded vid in sales sheet for the impeded? Oh, embedded. No, you're not. I think you mean embedded. You put impeded. Um, you're not going to embed the video in the sell sheet. You're going to make it a link. This is what we train our students to do, to an unlisted YouTube video. Some people are like, Andrew, I don't want this to be unlisted. I want it to be private. Well, no, private doesn't work because you need the other person's YouTube handle to share it with them. And that's a nightmare. I mean, nobody knows their YouTube handle. And definitely a marketing manager doesn't have time for that. So when you make it unlisted, literally nobody can search for it. Nobody can find it. Only people with the link can see it. So it's this big old long ass link, right? And so essentially that's a password. If they want to share it with other people in the company, they can. You want that to happen. That's okay. So it's essentially password protected. But you're going to be unlisted, and there'll be a link to that unlisted YouTube video in your sell sheet. You're not going to embed it in your sell sheet. That could create all sorts of havoc with spam or virus filters and things like that. So don't. I've had a few people try to get fancy and do that. Just don't do it. Just make it a link. It's fine. If you want to make it like a screen capture thumbnail of the video that they're going to watch, so it's more intriguing to click on it, or just a YouTube watch on YouTube, or watch video now a little with a little play button. All those things work just fine. Um, so the question is, should the inventor shoot the video footage? So should you shoot it? Yeah, we have students that do that all the time, but they have a coach to guide them on what's good and not. What I see from inventors that aren't our students and they shoot videos, they're like, "Hi, my name is Bob, and I had this idea, and I've been dreaming. I've been thinking about stuff forever, and my family, they say I'm a really good inventor, and you can see by my garage here that I can make stuff. And anyway, you get the idea. They're just rambling, right? Don't freaking do that. It needs to be direct to the point. Sometimes the video stands up on its own, and you could just do a video. Sometimes you do a video and a sell sheet. You have a sell sheet with a link to the video. Sometimes you just do a sell sheet. So I can't say what would be appropriate for your product, but our students shoot videos all the time on their Android or their iPhone, and that's fine. And some of them have never edited a video before. It's not hard, but the what you need for that particular product isn't that hard to relay. Other times you need something more. You want to refine it a little bit. You want to get a voiceover person on it. Maybe you want to put some text up on the screen. So it really depends. But can our students do it all the time? It's quite a bit of back and forth. Usually we'll have the student write up a script and share it with the coach, and the coach will help them tweak it. Like, okay, this picture is shown, and this is said, and this picture is shown. And a video isn't always what you think it is. Sometimes a video might be a series of still images with somebody talking. It might be some video and then some still images. So it doesn't, and it's so easy to do videos now, these guys. I mean, my daughter, who's 9, was doing it on her iPad. She was all excited because she was making a video. She was showing me how she was editing it. She was all proud. Nobody showed her how to do it. So anybody can do it these days. On the Mac, usually iMovie is free on it. So that's probably a good idea. It's pretty easy to use. And then on the PC, God, there's just tons of software there. Windows Movie Maker, I don't think is around anymore. I think you can find an old version of it, but that was never that good to begin with. There's a ton of software on the PC. You don't need to spend a bunch of money on it. There's plenty of good free ones. But just because you can edit a video, you need to know what you're saying. It needs to be in the proper order. Sometimes the sell sheet's doing all the heavy lifting and the video is just showing a little something. It's like adding to it. Sometimes the video is the sell sheet itself. That's the sell video, that needs to be a little bit more organized. It really depends. But don't introduce yourself. None of that. It's just the sales pitch. Don't talk about how you're going to make millions. None of that. You're showing them like an advertisement, basically. You got to create an advertisement. No, you don't reference prior art in your provisional patent application. No. So by the way, anything that I shared tonight should not be considered legal advice. Please consult the attorney if you're looking for legal advice. Okay, this is an interesting one. Music for Souls. Hi, Andrew. Nice job on these streams. Does your website have a program where inventors can partner up with other inventors? I think that's a recipe for disaster. That's like the last thing that you want, because every inventor thinks their product is better. So why are you going to get two inventors that are good at coming up with ideas, and neither of them have some additional skill? If you're an inventor and you're going to partner with somebody, find somebody that's really good at sales. Find somebody that's really good at engineering if it's a difficult product or what have you. Find somebody with a skill set that's different than yours. Getting two inventors together doesn't make any sense to me. We've had inventors that they're both an inventor and they're best friends or something, but just to find some other random inventor to partner with, I think that's a terrible idea. Now, if they're an inventor that also has engineering skills or whatever, but the problem is you guys are always going to be fighting each other. No, I want to work on my product. No, I want to work on my product first. And that's not really really set up to do well. So no, We don't set it up so inventors can partner with each other because I don't think it's generally a good idea. I'm kind of exaggerating to make a point. I'm not saying there's situations that make sense. We get plenty of people with partners and they're both inventors and they came to us that way, and that's fine. But I even say then, like, what are your guys' skills? And oh, I recognize one guy is a little more over here and there, and I want them to see that so they can be stronger and they can focus on their core competencies. But you get two inventors with the same skills. What's the point of that? Um, there are always exceptions, of course. It's not black and white. Carla said, "Thanks so much. Yes, in talks, and we are on the same page to enter a licensing agreement. Just wasn't sure when I should push the pen to paper, but I still be upfront with them about our next conferences." So Carla had interest from a company, and it's not pen to paper. When you get interest from a company, the initial discussions to the contract are the most important discussions you can have, and then the contract to close. So there's this perception that people have. I'm not saying you have this perception, Carla, because you sound pretty sharp. But there's this perception that, like, oh, they're going to be interested and they're going to send me a contract. No, no, they're going to have discussions about the product, if it can be made. Oh, we need to get some quotes to make sure we can make a reasonable price. What about this? What about that? What are the other product? There's all sorts of things you want to discuss. And then there's internal politics. Sally, she's on vacation. We need to wait till she comes back. Oh, we're going to have a board meeting. We're going to show it then. Oh, great. Like, what can I give you to show during that meeting or what have you, or a marketing meeting or whatever it is. Um, so Carla, I think you're getting it. The conversations you have right now, it's great that I think they were moving forward with the prototype on yours, as I recall, which is fantastic. That's great. Great, great, great. But you want to have some conversations with them about moving them forward. So without knowing your particular situation, I can't tell you exactly what those conversations should be, because you're at a point where the advice that we would give you is very specific to what's transpired so far, via email, the product. There's just a lot of factors there. Uh, so Jonathan said, if you see one of us with enough potential, would you be willing to become a mentor personally? So you guys should do like a contest where you personally mentor someone and create content out of it. It could be really cool series for everyone to watch. Yeah, Stephen and I over the years, we're the co-founders and we've been candidates for several TV shows, but man, the Hollywood people are so flaky. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna do a pilot and then pitch it or whatever." And I don't even get excited anymore when they come around because it's just Hollywood. It just is what it is. Um, I think there's something there, of course. Recording everything we do with our students is completely private, and everything is theirs, and we don't take a percentage. And to publicly record everything you do with an inventor is exactly what we don't do, because everything that people share with us is private, and inventors are really worried about that. But it's an interesting thought. Um, so Stephen and myself, so I was our only coach back in the day. Now we have 10 coaches and a negotiation coach. Okay. So I used to be our head coach, but now we got Terry. He trains all the other coaches now. I used to do that as well. So, but as the co-founder with 23 employees, I can't do one-on-one coaching anymore. Now, Stephen and myself, as the co-founders, we will jump on to any call with our students if the coach feels like, I think this would be beneficial if Stephen and Andrew can jump on. So we're always there. But it's like our negotiation coach, Paul. I think he's better than Steve and myself in a lot of ways at this point because he's done so many negotiations now. In the early days, Stephen did it, and then I did it after him, and then we trained Paul to do it. So so no, we Stephen and I don't personally do meet, because we meet with our students every week for 6 months, for half a year, and that requires a lot of time. And I need to help manage everybody and manage the business and everything. So we don't do that anymore. Um, and then it's interesting with the contest, or to do a show or put it up on YouTube and we like track this inventor and see them going through it. Steve and I have talked about that. I think it's very interesting. And maybe um, maybe because we're like doing it for free for the inventor to create content, they'd be okay with us disclosing it. But we couldn't disclose all that stuff before they reached out. We'd have to record all of it and then issue it later because we wouldn't want some inventor to go then take that inventor's idea and then show it because if they were tracking, I mean, I don't think most inventors would do that, but people are weird. Like Kickstarter is a freaking nightmare. You go on Kickstarter, nobody should do that, in my opinion, anymore. And somebody's knocked you off from your campaign that's being successful, and they're selling on Amazon before you even finish. That's why I'm not big on crowdfunding anymore. I'm actually going to do a video. I was supposed to do it today, but I'm going to do it tomorrow on the massive downsides of crowdfunding. I used to like it actually. The massive downsides of crowdfunding and how licensing is so much better. Steve and I really got to start reaching out to the crowdfunding folks and go, guys, there's a better way. It's called licensing. Um, but I'm going to record that tomorrow. It'll probably be, yeah, this should come out by Friday. So if you guys want to watch that video on crowdfunding as opposed to licensing and the upsides and downsides of each, I'll talk about the downsides of licensing as well. I think you guys will really like that. So, Jonathan, thank you for those suggestions. Um, Rip Bob Saget. Bob Saget's dead? News to me. People can write whatever in the chat, so I don't know. Um, well, his handle is, we're all adults here, is Jedi Dick Sensei. So maybe that's not true. Maybe I should have read your handle first. But anyway, it's kind of funny. Um, Sorry, Bob Saget. That's not funny that people think you're dead. I don't know. Maybe you are dead. I have no idea. Uh, some person said I'd audition for the contest. That's fun. Just bought the book, Yossi. That's great. Great. One Simple Idea, I'm assuming. Got other good books too. Um, Nathan said, I got a quick question for how would you set up an LLC for licensing your first product? You just set it up. There is a website that is amazing and it's free. I'm gonna go there just to make sure I got it. I think it's LLC University. I can spell. Let me see if it comes up. Yeah, it's LLC University. And Matt Horwitz, I interviewed him. This dude rocks. He's amazing. So now I lost my screen. Where's the feed? Oh my goodness. Can't see you guys anymore. All right, hold on. Let me get back to Chrome. I cannot see the stream. Wow. Okay, that's weird. Well, we're going to finish up in a couple minutes. I lost my stream. I have to be able to finish it though. So let me go to that tab. Here we go. There we go. There we go. Found it. Sorry about that, guys. I think that's a great website for every state. It shows you how to file an LLC and do it yourself. He has some resources on there. Most of the websites that supposedly will educate you about doing LLC are garbage, and Matt made that clear. Matt's site freaking rocks, and it's free. Okay. Now there are some resources in there if you want them to file it or somebody else. I think he has a partner on there, and it's pretty reasonable. But I think it's something that any of you can do. We did our own LLC. You don't need to do one now. You could do it in the midst of doing your first deal. So you don't need to have an LLC in order to license, in order to work on licensing products. But one of the things we tell our students is never do a deal under your own name. Always do it in an LLC. But you could get that deal on the table, and then you could file the LLC. But you guys need to figure out for your own tax purposes, whatever. The thing is with licensing, we're teaching people to spend very little money. So it's not like you got all these write-offs as if opposed to having this business where you're selling and you've got employees and you're spending all this ungodly amount of money. Then it makes total sense to file an LLC. But when you haven't even got your first deal on the table yet, companies don't care if you have an LLC or not. So you can get in the deal, move it forward. Oh, looks like it's closing. Okay, file your own LLC, and then tell the company, hey, I want to do the contract on this LLC. I just want to tell you guys that our students do that all day long, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, but that LLC University, if you do need to file an LLC, is fantastic. And Matt is an angel. He's amazing. And all that information on that site and how to do it is free. Last time I checked, and I'm sure it still is. I don't think he changed his business model. Prodigy says, any thoughts or insights on direction inventing is taking? How it's impacting different companies or potential change how companies push out different products? So Steve and I have been doing this for 21 years. And in the early days, we were having people mail stuff and fax people. We go, oh, shortcut is a fax. We've been doing this for 21 freaking years. And so it's easier than ever to license products. You guys have it so freaking easy now. It's amazing. You've got LinkedIn, you've got email, you've got, you can use the phone, you can use all different techniques, but you've got so many tools. When we first started, which I think was a mistake, we were guiding our students to create their own sell sheets, which I think they look pretty bad. But now you can throw a rock and hit a graphic designer and get a sell sheet done, and it can be beautiful. Now, the problem with that is you think that you gave them good marketing and they're just making it pretty, and now you have a pretty piece of junk, right? So they're not marketers. So, and then these days we do 3D computer rated renderings for our students. We do 3D models for our students. That's included with our coaching program, and it looks beautiful. So you're like, I can't make this, and it's like, that's no problem. We can make it look like what you want it to look like, and that's included. So um, how is it different? Insights on direction inventing is taking. So what I've found is every year it seems like more and more companies are becoming what we call open innovation companies, where they're open to ideas from the outside. And there are so many companies, they're not going to ever put this up on their website. If you guys are just looking for companies that says inventors on their website, or there's a button and there's a clear submission portal, that's amateur hour. There's so many companies where you get a hold of the right guy, marketing manager, whoever on LinkedIn, or call the gatekeeper, or send an email to the right person, and they're like, oh yeah, send it on over. There's nothing on their website about it. If you're just looking for confirmation that nobody's ever going to say no. Now, so even though I'm saying they're more open than ever, is every company going to say yes? No, not every company. You need to get used to that. But the vast majority of companies, if you approach them the right way, and there's so many companies where I've had inventors say, I called a gatekeeper, I asked them, they said, no, we don't do that. And then they went and sent to a marketing manager on LinkedIn. They're like, oh, yeah, send it on over. So, really, if it's a company you really like, don't necessarily take it at face value. Now, if three people in the company or four go, no, no, well, then their attorneys got to them. They said, no, you can't take any submissions. But that's very rare, I've found, very rare. So, what I'm finding is companies see you as their free research and development department. And it's a great deal for you and it's a great deal for them. They only need to pay you if they like your product. They don't need to pay you a dime if they don't like your product. So, god damn, that's so much cheaper than having a bunch of guys in a room trying to force ideas. They've been coming up with the same stuff forever, the industrial designers or whatever. They're not thinking outside the box like you guys are. Do not undervalue how valuable you guys are with your creativity. Yes, they have a whole bunch of skills you don't have, and you have the creativity. It's a great combination. That's a great marriage. So, more open than ever. Now, one thing I've been talking about quite recently with the pandemic is, even though they're more open than ever, things are taking a little longer. We've had just as many students, actually more, during the pandemic license products than before. Okay. So, a couple things that you need to be a little bit more patient is, we're finding when a company shows interest, they need to get quotes to make sure they can make this cost effectively. So that is slowing the negotiations down a little bit, because a lot of those quotes they're getting from China. And even with these big companies, China isn't as responsive. The contract manufacturers over there aren't as responsive as they were before. So it's taking extra time for them to come back. And they don't, the marketing manager at the company doesn't want to say yes until they know they can make it and make it at a reasonable price. So that's taking a little longer. But usually our students, quite honestly, they're reaching out to more companies while they're waiting for that, because they're not counting on that. Because if it takes them longer to get back and they're like, oh, no, we decided not to, and you just stopped, don't ever do that. You want to keep reaching out to more companies. The other thing we're noticing is it's taking companies a little longer to launch products too, but you licensed the product, you moved on to other things. Now let them do their thing. And so if it takes them an extra 4 months to get the product to market, it's just what it is. It's taking the companies launching their own new products, not the products they licensed from you, longer to launch new products as well. It's just a fact. It's what's happening right now in 2021, and it's 2022 right now. And I think it's going to continue in 2022. I think it will get better, but I really don't know. I haven't been like watching the news on supply chain issues. I stopped watching the news altogether about 3 months ago because I got so sick of it and just people acting like idiots. That's why I don't use Facebook. I'm on Facebook. I won't go on there. I go on there every 2 months to see if an old high school buddy hit me up or something. But um, so the deals are taking longer to do, but they're getting done. So it's a positive outlook all around. Does it kind of suck that it's taking them a little longer to say yes because they got to get quotes and they're not getting those quotes in Asia? Yeah. Does it take them a little longer if they're manufacturing in Asia to launch the new product because of all the supply chain issues? Does it kind of suck? Yeah, but it's not keeping you from closing deals. And so, and licensing isn't an occupation you should endeavor and jump into if you think you're going to make a bunch of money really quick. You can make a lot of money with licensing, but it's not overnight, it's over time. And you've moved on to other products while you're waiting for them to get this product launched. You're keeping yourself busy. You don't have to. You put all that responsibility onto them. So that's the overview. We've gone a good 7 minutes over. I'm going to, let's see. Somebody wrote, yes, it's true. Bob Saget has passed away. Bob Saget, that guy, he did America's Funniest Videos, which is a kind of a family show, right? And I don't know how many videos can you watch of somebody falling on their crotch or whatever. But anyway, it's kind of a family show. And then I saw him do a stand-up routine, and he is the filthiest stand-up comic I've ever seen. Or like, I think he got so tired of being so family oriented for a while. He did some really, really edgy comedy stuff. If you guys have ever seen it, and I was like, whoa, this isn't the same Bob Saget I know. And it's just really shocking kind of stand-up comedy, but I thought that was interesting. So now you guys are probably just messing with me, but I'll look it up after I get off here. Um, so Okay. So Terrell says, can you speak on why you don't support Kickstarter anymore? I'm going to do a video, Terrell, and it will be issued by the end of the week. And I'm going to go into great, excruciating detail. I do not recommend you guys do Kickstarter. It's a freaking nightmare. I don't think it's right for you guys. It's not. I used to love it. It's grassroots. And it's like, I will explain in detail, Terrell, why I don't think it's a good idea. So just check out our InventRight channel, and it will be posted by Friday. Okay. Um, Jeremy, no joke, he's dead. Okay. Is that what we should be talking about on the stream? The people that have died or haven't died? Anyway. Okay. I want to remind you guys to take care, keep inventing. Please do me a solid. You guys, you spent a whole hour or so listening to me answer your questions. So if you could click on subscribe, click on the notifications button, and watch a whole bunch of our freaking videos, which are great. We don't like pitch our course in there every 2 minutes or anything like that. We refer to our students, which is what we're talking about. So people really respect that and appreciate that. And any YouTube channel, you shouldn't be pitching what you're selling every 2 minutes anyway. I know I watch a lot of freaking YouTube at night on my TV. I love it because I'm a information junkie. And as soon as somebody starts like constantly pitching me selling something, it's like, you dude, you don't know how to do YouTube. So watch our YouTube videos, like them, and that's how you can thank me for taking an hour out of my time. And check out inventright.com. Learn more about our coaching programs, how we can guide you. We get students licensing stuff every week, and it's from those coaching programs. So take care, everybody. Keep inventing, and I'll catch you the next time. See you guys. Bye.